This is Campus News, reporting the top stories from colleges and universities.
Next on Campus News, learn what local experts think about the coronavirus.
See how one MSUM runner is running his way to the top.
See what happened when 4 student bands battled for bragging rights.
But first, see how the tobacco age increase is affecting students. Good morning and welcome to Campus News. I'm Alex Larson.
And I'm Shaylee Espeseth.
For decades, having an 18th birthday meant gaining the right to buy tobacco products.
But a new federal law has officially raised the purchasing age to 21. I went to find out what students on the MSUM campus think about the new regulation.
And a lot of people were asking if I could make exceptions, just one time to let them sell tobacco products.
Since the beginning of the year, convenience stores, such as the Senex station in Moorhead, have noticed changes in their tobacco sales.
It's definitely gone down since the age increase because this is a college town, so most of our, general clientele for tobacco sales are college kids.
The policy comes at a time when public health officials have noticed an alarming increase of high school students who are vaping nicotine.
It is an issue. A lot of kids that are younger are vaping, and they definitely shouldn't be because it's not healthy.
Though the law aims to prevent young adults from becoming addicted, some students feel that their right is being stripped away.
This is really inconvenient. I'm 20 years old. I'm over 18. I had to sign up for selective service. I should be able to do more, than just buy scratch-offs.
While the new law is impacting young adults who are between the ages of 18 and 20, the hope of minors is that regulations will remain consistent.
If the people who are making these laws think that we as a society aren't ready, then I think that everything should just be at 21 and then keep it at that and stop changing it.
Lawmakers hope this change will prevent over 200,000 premature deaths each year. With photographer Alexis Wallstrom, Shaylee Espeseth, Campus News. MSUM has banned tobacco use and sales on its campus since 2007. London College researchers turned to artificial intelligence to predict heart problems. Students at University College of London were able to use AI technology to predict many conditions, including heart attacks, strokes, and even chances of death more accurately than human doctors. The study looked at 1,000 patients who had CMR scans. Professor James C. Moon says this process is much easier than manually measuring blood flow. This is the first and largest study of its kind. The coronavirus has caused a lot of controversy so far this year. Reporter Kaylee Sedlacek takes us into the lab to talk to professionals studying it at NDSU about the importance of the virus.
Inside NDSU's Van S. Hall, Dr. Rama Murthy is teaching students about the spread of diseases. The vaccinologist has worked with diseases like the coronavirus before and says we don't have to panic, but we should be informed.
So right now the chances that they will encounter this virus is extremely small. There are only about 15 cases in the United States so far, and most of it is people who have traveled in from China. So I should emphasize that people don't have to be paranoid, they don't have to be worried, but they do have to be careful. Yeah.
Dr. Paul Carson says we should put this virus in perspective with ones we already know.
We kind of collectively shrug a lot over influenza. Oh, maybe I'll get my flu shot this year, maybe I won't. And when that's killed tens of thousands of people in our country alone compared to what this is doing so far. Now, this may have the potential to do a lot more, we don't know, but we should put it in perspective of what we already contend with on a regular basis.
But don't forget to do the basics to stay safe.
As long as we follow the normal protocols that we follow, wash hands before eating, wash hands if you come in contact with anything that you think could be potentially infected.
With photographer Alex Larson, Kaylee Sedlacek, Campus News.
As the flu is coming around, make sure to follow those procedures to stay healthy this spring semester. A play that has drawn both criticism and praise was performed here at MSUM.
The Vagina Monologues feature new voices this year, though. Nancy Wumboy tells us more.
Good evening, Vagina Warriors and Orgasm Aficionados. Welcome to tonight's performance of the Vagina Monologues. Thank you for coming.
Every year, the campus feminist organization performs the Vagina Monologues. The play has themes about women's sexuality and body autonomy. In recent years, the play has been criticized for offering the views of cisgender women.
It was always perfect.
Play director Dana Bisiani decided to include authentic monologues from transgender women. MSUM student and transgender activist Katrina Kesterman
I wore my beard like a mask.
says she got involved because expressing yourself as transgender can be about survival.
Not everyone is as fortunate as I was as far as having the support to come out. For a lot of people, it's a matter of life and death. Either they come out and become their true selves, or they fall into depression and end up committing suicide.
4 trans women performed biographical monologues. Their monologues talked about the individual challenges they face as trans women. Those challenges include feeling disconnected from their bodies.
My voice broke and became a foghorn. Distended, prolapsed tumors between my legs changed the way I walked, the way I sat.
And finally, accepting their journeys.
When I accepted my vagina, I stopped being afraid.
Fellow actress and MSUM student Rebecca Renslow supports the trans voices.
You know, when we talk about feminism, we need to include all women. If we don't include trans women, we're cutting out a lot of women.
With photographer Nora Vitale, Nancy Wamboy, Campus News.
The play grossed more than $300. Proceeds will be donated to the Rape and Crisis Abuse Shelter in Fargo. The shelter accepts donations at any time. An unlikely person debuted as an actress. MSU Moorhead College President Ann Blackhurst performed the last monologue, titled I Was There. President Blackhurst played a grandmother who witnesses the miracle birth when her granddaughter is born. Blackhurst says students asked her to perform. She says she was drawn to the character because she is a mother. A Texas teenager who was expelled for his dreadlocks violating the dress code is getting $20,000 for college. 18-year-old DeAndre Arnold received a check from Alicia Keys and Ellen DeGeneres to help pay for college. Arnold made headlines for refusing to cut his dreadlocks, despite the school saying his hair violated the dress code. Barbers Hill High School in Mont Belvieu, Texas, has said the issue is about the length of his hair. The Arnold family believes the issue is over their culture and race. Arnold would like to go to college to study veterinary medicine. A new collaboration between 2 colleges can make nursing degrees easier in Minnesota to obtain. The nursing program at MSU Moorhead has partnered with Northland Community and Technical College in East Grand Forks to make transferring credits online easier.
Well, I would say before this partnership, we did not have any kind of a document that would tell a student that these classes would be accepted right away.
3 other colleges are already partnered with MSUM. The Moorhead School is continuing to look for other partnership opportunities to help students further their education beyond a 2-year degree.
Since recent news of a multi-million-dollar remodel of Weld Hall, some have questions about relocation plans for some groups, like New Rivers Press. Here is more from reporter Geneva Nodland.
Since 2001, New Rivers Press has been a part of the MSUM community and run mostly by the students.
New Rivers Press is a literary learning press, so a literary press means we're publishing fiction, poetry, nonfiction, and then a learning press means that everything that we do has student involvement in it.
Nate Runquist is currently the managing editor of the press, but was once a student working for it.
But also we go through submissions for other stuff.
New Rivers Press has a rich history, beginning in New York in 1968 and making its way to Moorhead. But now, the press will be part of a historic change coming to Weld Hall.
After the renovation is done, we'll actually be downstairs in Weld on the basement floor. If you know where the Alumni Center is right now, down on the first floor of that.
With the relocation, the press will have a bigger space than the one they're in now. And that means more room for growth.
It's quite a lot more space, which is good. We've got 11 interns this semester, so we need room for all the bodies, and hopefully we'll be expanding, so we'll never have fewer than that, so more space will definitely be nice.
Students have an opportunity to experience the world of publishing through an internship with New Rivers Press.
It'll be kind of more set up for group work and kind of communal collaborative work.
Runquist said he attended meetings last fall and was able to have a say in what would be included or not, in the new space.
If you're not in publishing, you don't know what you need for publishing.
Runquist thinks New Rivers Press will be in their new home by 2022. With photographer Ben Podratz, Geneva Nodlin, Campus News.
Once renovations are underway in Weld Hall, Runquist said they will possibly find themselves next door in Lohman Hall. An Arizona mayor is promising to make college more affordable thanks to a first in the state. Mesa Mayor John Giels unveiled the Mesa College Promise. It would mean free tuition at community college for Mesa high school students who can't afford college. Giles says the program won't increase taxes. He says almost half the funding for the campaign is already raised thanks to business and education leaders. The mayor says the program is the first of its kind in Arizona and will be expected to take effect next year. NDSU's pharmacy program has previously received national attention for its distinguished alumni and faculty, but now it's getting recognition for a different reason. In 2015, Sudrow Hall was home to a diabetes-themed escape room. Escape rooms are where people need to solve puzzles together in order to get out. It was created by NDSU professors and their colleagues at Washington State University. An article about it was recently published in a national journal. This version of the game teaches students how to administer life-saving drugs and promote something else important.
It was great teamwork and team building, and that's one thing in the classroom that's sometimes hard to show and actually practice is teamwork and communication.
Although Dr. Uckel hasn't held a diabetes escape room at NDSU since 2015, she is currently helping to develop different themes for new ones.
An associate professor from NDSU is sharing a Japanese tradition with the community. Anne Broughton will be giving a presentation on Hina Matsuri, a Japanese festival which honors young girls through the Hina dolls. Broughton is the curator of NDSU's Emily Reynolds costume collection, which houses Miss Okayama, North Dakota's 1927 Japanese friendship doll. The educational event will take place at the Fargo Air Museum on February 27th. Students from around the region brought their singing talents and listening ears as one of the country's best jazz singing groups came to Concordia. Students got to learn under the group's talent while also honing in on their own craft. Jenna Scott has more on the story.
Students spent their weekend engulfed in music, workshops, and singing, all in the name of jazz.
Today is a day of festival events that include performances and workshops.
This was a great weekend for not only college students to come and expand on their talents, but for high school students as well.
Benefiting our students by giving them really top-notch vocal jazz training, but then also bringing high school students to campus, showing them around, showing them what our program is like.
But for some, this meant far more than just singing and playing music. For students like Matthew Mortensen, this was much more.
In jazz songs, they use the voices to simulate instruments of a band, like a jazz band.
Right, so you're feeling that instrumental influence.
Students like Matthew enjoyed their chance to learn under the expertise of the professional jazz group, the New York Voices.
Even in the classroom, you don't get an experience like working with professionals who have been in the industry for 30+ years.
Through all the practices, workshops, and hours spent singing, students could go home with a new appreciation for the art of jazz. Jenna Scott, Campus News.
This was the 4th annual Jazz Festival held at Concordia. The MSUM Theater Department is inviting the community to an emotional classic which still holds plenty of relevance. Women of Troy is a Greek tragedy which follows the lives of the surviving women after the Trojan War. 14 students will present a story of courage, resilience, and hope in the face of adversity. Women of Troy is directed by Patrick Carrier and is set to open on the Gady stage February 26th. The academic buildings across MSUM's campus are full of classrooms and students eager to learn. But in the basement of Langseth Hall, the Marine Ecology Lab is home to a unique style of hands-on learning. Reporter Eric George takes us below the surface and into one of the most hidden spots on campus.
A level below classrooms at Langseth, stingrays, clownfish, horseshoe crabs, and other sea life are drawing students and people from the community to visit MSU Moorhead's Marine Ecology Lab. The lab and its aquatic animals see a lot of attention on days like this, and president of the Marine Ecology Group, Alex Siegel, couldn't be happier for this.
So the goal of this event is to put our name out there. We have been called the hidden gem of MSUM because this is such an amazing room, but almost nobody knows about it because we're tucked in the basement of Langseth.
The Marine Ecology Group hosts tours, open houses, and even birthday parties. They host a couple of these open houses each year.
We do one during homecoming and welcome week, and then we do one during Dragonfrost. But we could do more if people were interested.
The group is able to bring people down here because of some of their more interesting attractions.
So our stingray pool is obviously our main attraction because you don't really get to see any of these animals in the area.
The ecology group is gaining traction, with the number of animals they care for growing year after year.
So we started from just the one tank to, well, now we have 11 tanks or so that are filled with animals.
But for now, they have just one main goal in mind.
We want to be able to give the people of this area something really cool to see.
So if you're ever interested in paying a visit to Langseth's Hidden Gem, be sure to go to one of their open houses or take one of their many tours. With photographer Ethan Studi, Eric George, Campus News.
MSUM's Marine Ecology Lab houses 14 different aquatic species with even more on the way. And now we turn it over to Jordan Austin for a look at this week's sports.
Yeah, I hear you have a story about an MSUM student paving the way for future athletes.
We do indeed. The sports world often focuses a lot of attention on women who play football, but for one MSUM junior, they didn't want that spotlight. Reporter Jacob Tenson finds out how Lauren Fetch used to play football to get her way onto the basketball court.
Nowhere does it say that this is just a guy's sport.
Football was something that Lauren Fetch had done ever since she was in kindergarten. But when 9th grade came around, she was faced with the tough decision of whether or not to continue playing.
My sister kind of was like, I totally think that you should do it too, and that kind of pushed me because she's like, I know you still love to play the sport, so why would you give up something that you love just because people say you can't do it or whatever. So I decided to stick with it, and definitely probably the best decision I've ever made. Fetch had some challenges. She was the only female playing against males. When you're a freshman, not only are you usually probably smaller and slower than everyone else, but then add to the fact that you're a female playing with males.
There was one defining moment in her career when she knew that she belonged on the field.
The first time I ever kicked an extra point my freshman year, usually it's an unwritten rule, you don't touch a kicker. And the other team kind of gave me a cheap shot almost after I kicked it. And my teammates immediately got up, shoved the guy, was all on his face and stuff. And so that was just super nice to know that they have my back no matter what.
Fetch wasn't only a kicker, she was also a wide receiver and a cornerback. Her college coaches even thought it was a pretty unique thing.
It's pretty cool that she's the only Wisconsin ever a girl to be able to catch a touchdown and then kick a field goal.
Whether it's on the gridiron or on the hardwood, the goal remains the same.
And then I just loved obviously being part of a team always. That's why of course I wanted to play a college sport.
Fetch has advice to any other girls looking to play football.
If you want to play football, I say absolutely do it. Don't let anyone stop you. There's no reason why you can't. It's like anything else. If you believe you can and you work for it, you put your mind to it, you can totally and absolutely do it.
Fetch says that football prepared her for what she would face later on, the difference between high school basketball and college basketball. With photographers Nick Napper and Joe Keller, I'm Jacob Tenson, Campus News Sports.
Fetch and the Dragons look to have a strong end of the season to get some momentum for the NSIC tournament. An Eastern Kentucky linebacker is facing multiple charges in Ohio, including resisting arrest by body slamming an officer. Police were originally called into a business where there was an aggressive man who did not work there and wouldn't leave. Police say the man was redshirt sophomore Michael Harris, who was reportedly intoxicated. Police confronted Harris as he tried to get into his car. Police say when an officer tried to stop him, Harris lifted the cop in the air and body slammed him. Another officer arrived to stop the scuffle and put Harris in handcuffs. Harris is now facing multiple charges, including disorderly conduct while intoxicated, obstructing official business, and resisting arrest. Wrestling is not a sport for the weak-minded, and at NDSU's wrestling clinic, kids got to learn what it takes to be in the circle. Damian O'Donnell takes us to the mat to learn more about this hands-on learning opportunity.
Stay in your stance, don't break your stance. Take a shot, go.
Kids from the Fargo-Moorhead and surrounding area came to get some aggression out and learn more about what it takes to become a better wrestler.
So if I want to close this gap...
NDSU hosted its free wrestling clinic for kids 12 and younger, and it was a learning experience from the very beginning to the final takedown.
There's a lot of lessons being learned from taking these clinics. I mean, whether it's me showing it or, another coach, or they get a different perspective than just maybe hearing it from Dad.
But Nick doesn't run these clinics just for the fun and joy of passing on his knowledge of wrestling to the kids. He wants them to learn lessons that will apply outside of this sport.
All the way to the mat. Good. There's trials and tribulations kids go through on a daily basis. I mean, we've always been taught, certain characteristics that you want to live by, and I think it's helped through tough times in life and just embracing the grind, as we like to say.
For two brothers, the clinic was a place where they didn't have to travel very far to learn new tricks and make new friends.
Because it's a nice experience for me to get more mat time and stuff.
They also have a fun surprise for Nick when they get older.
Bring it in, have a seat.
Yeah, I would probably help run it.
With photographer Dominique Trowbridge, I'm Damian O'Donnell, Campus News Sports.
The camp is offered twice a year, one in the winter season and one in the fall season. Alabama may become the next state to pay its college athletes to play. The bill is called Fair Pay to Play. It allows for college athletes to get licensed agents and earn money off of their name. The bill requires schools to have an athlete injury and wage fund. This would require schools to give players compensation upon graduation after a career-ending injury. If this bill passes, athletes will still be eligible for scholarships. Athletes would be required to communicate with their school on any contracts they sign. It would not take effect until 2023. He may have been the first MSUM runner to qualify for nationals in more than 50 years, but the race that means the most to Nadir Youssef is the next one. I was able to catch up with him and learn a little bit more.
When Nadir Youssef began his career at MSUM, running was not the first thing on his mind. When he started on campus, he wanted to affect others and help them persevere, just like he has.
Well, I originally came to MSUM for the TESOL program, which is a Teaching English as a Secondary Language program. And I really wanted to study that because I myself am a student of non-native English speaker, I guess you can say. So I didn't know English when I came here 13 years ago.
Running in high school at Wilmer, Nadir was able to make his own opportunity by catching the eye of Coach Ryan Milner in the Dragons distance running program. Once on campus, Nadir joined the track and field and cross-country teams, and there was a noticeable difference.
A lot of the people supporting each other, a lot of people clapping for each other, pushing each other to really try to achieve. That directly stems from Nadir. Like you could kind of see when he came into the program and things like that becoming more commonplace. That's Nadir.
Nadir is no stranger to the national spotlight. He went to nationals for the second time this year, this time as an individual.
Going to the national meet down in Sacramento was a pretty great experience. It was my second time being there for cross country. I was there my freshman year as a team, and I went there as an individual this year.
His mindset made it nice because I didn't have to manage nerves. I didn't really have to do any of those things. Like he knew what his objective was, and he knew what he needed to do to get there.
With big expectations for the upcoming season, Nadir will always be looking for the next finish line, wherever it may be. With photographer Justin Howe, I'm Jordan Austin, Campus News Sports.
Track and field indoor nationals will take place in March in Birmingham, Alabama. It's coming up quick, guys.
Yeah, it definitely seems like Nadir is one to be able to pump up his team pretty well. Thanks, Jordan.
MSUM students grabbed their guitars and took the campus to the School of Rock.
As reporter Madison Nelson-Gira tells us, money and bragging rights were on the line.
There is a battle brewing at MSUM. But this battle was fought with sticks, strings, and sound. Guitars shredded sweet licks. Drums banged and bashed. And the crowd went wild. Four bands battled. Spencer Onyx, the lead singer of the band Understudy, spreads his love of music to everyone.
I believe that music brings out like the best in people, and it's one of the most powerful forms of communication on this planet. I'm doing this till the day I die. This is my place in the big kahuna of the world.
But one band stood above the rest.
In first place, we have Saptac.
It was a night filled with music, singing, and cheers. From the CMU Ballroom, Madison Nelson Gura, Campus News.
The winning band, Saptac, took home a $300 cash prize. And that's it for this edition of Campus News.
We leave you with more shots of the Battle of the Bands.
Thanks for joining us and have a great week.
Campus News is produced by the Television News Workshop in the School of Communication and Journalism at Minnesota State University Moorhead in cooperation with Prairie Public Television.